happens tomorrow. Okay, everybody, if we are in our pregame show, we always start 2 or 3 minutes early because of the way things work. So if you're watching this on a recording, we're going to start officially in 3 minutes, but you get to watch our pregame banter. You know, Sam, what should we banter about today here for our little pregame
Ted, you
show?
can't have banter that way.
No?
It's got to happen naturally. You've got to
Oh,
naturally
naturally. Okay.
banter.
Naturally.
Got to come up organically.
Hmm. Organically, that's a good word, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Dad, I'm going to mention this again once it truly starts. But I was getting all the questions and the entries in today, and I realized that this is our 10th happy half hour.
10 weeks.
This is
Wow.
number 10. Time has flown right by.
Time flies when you're having fun. I just wonder how many people have been here for all 10 weeks besides us.
Well, we definitely have. The three of us have
Yeah.
for sure. Um, well, just a reminder, anybody who is out there as we're getting ready to start, um, we we cannot tell that you are here unless you say something below. So if you want to let us know you're here, give us a hey, tell us what you're drinking. We'd love to hear from you. I know that Cindy and Tom are here, so welcome y'all. Nice to see you again. And
Martha is
Brenda,
here. Hey, Martha, good to see you or be seen by you.
yeah.
You know, this new virtual world we're in. And
Paul
and
is
I'll remind you again in a minute, but if you if you click share and watch party, you'll tell all your friends you're watching, and maybe some of them will join us as well.
Mhm.
So,
Hey,
uh,
Robert, nice to see you again. Well, speak to you. And we're
Paula,
almost here in the final seconds before we officially
oh,
start. Ed's here.
Dick,
Uh,
their daughter is there too.
mhm.
Yeah,
Lisa's
and
here. Uh,
Robert.
this
Hey,
is
Ed, I got your email. I'm still working on. I got it on my list to let you know. So it is now, nope, still 4:29.
Oop,
Hasn't clicked over.
Heidi's here.
Lisa, good to see you. Saw you just the other day. And
Heidi's drinking a kombucha.
Heidi, kombucha, that's a good one. Oh, it is 4:30, so we can start. Hey, welcome everyone. Welcome to the 10th,
That
the very the 10th happy half hour with Carolina Retirement Planners. I'm David Shakavage, and I'm accompanied here by my daughter, Sam Shakavage, and just want to welcome you all. We do this, if you're a newcomer, we do this every week, every Thursday at 4:30. Grab your favorite beverage, join in as we talk about something of interest in the next half hour. Sam, what are you drinking today?
Today I am drinking another Waterline IPA.
You're not biased towards Waterline, are you?
Well, now I definitely am, and their beer is delicious. And Neil texted me to tell me that he was trained for the first time today on the brew system, and
Yeah.
having a real
For
nice
those who
time
don't
there.
know, her husband has a degree in fermentation science. I mean, I don't know why I went into engineering when there were so many better. And he works as a brewer at Waterline Brewery. Started there a month or so ago.
Oh, we
And
got it. We got an email the other day from I believe one of our clients who was telling us about how he was at MIT doing something with staying was stationed there with at the naval base and took a learning class, a continuing education class about fermentation science, and was surprised when he showed up at a brewery.
and it was all the MIT nerds, and he didn't think it would be interesting at all. And they all go. Their class was to tour. I am drinking herbal tea. Believe
As
it or not,
always.
it doesn't look like herbal tea, but trust me, it is. I will, but fear not. I will have something stronger in the very near future. You know, it's. And let's see who else is. We've got. We could say hi to a bunch of other people. I
Got
see Ed's
Ed
here.
and Annette. Hey y'all.
Eric, Cindy, Patrick, Pat.
Rick, uh, Bob and Val, Nadine.
Robert.
He was last week's wine giveaway winner, and
Yeah.
she enjoyed last week's topic and is drinking the wine right now.
And I see Barb is here, and Barb and Dan from up in the mountains, and Carol Ann.
And JP and Brad. And Anne is here with Ed too. Oh, they're drinking old fashioned. And Matt.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Let us know what you're drinking. So
oh, my mom is here. Sandy, hi, Mom. All right. Well, cheers, Dad.
Cheers for another great, another great. Yeah, we have a fun one tonight. What are we going to be talking about on today's broadcast, Sam?
Oh man, Dad, we are talking about one of my favorite. We're going to use one of my favorite examples to show, to answer the question, will I run out of money in retirement? So I'm really excited about today.
Yeah, this is a good one. This will be a good one. By the way, if you click on, if you're on Facebook there, if you look down below, it says share. If you click share, and then it'll say watch party, start a watch party. Facebook will tell your friends you're watching, and some of them may want to come and join you. So I'll remember that as well.
And if you do that, we do every week, we have a wine drawing today, a wine giveaway. So I will pull your name out of the hat, and your name can go in that hat if you start a watch party, if you refer us the happy half hour to a friend, which you can just tell us. If you send us in a question of a topic or question you have throughout the week, we will get you entered into the drawing. I've got a lot of names this week, actually, because Amy made an error and put the date as last Thursday and gave y'all a freebie to enter. So we've got a lot of names in there this week. So we're excited to give away some more wine.
But 3 ways to enter: email a question, refer us, or start a watch party, and just let us know. Send us an email that you did so, and we will put you in for next week's drawing. The drawings are always fun. And
we've got Robin and Michael, Steve and Chris, Griselle, Nina, Paula, and Miranda. And Miranda's drinking Gatorade, and Rick as well. Miranda, I think that you might have been on all of ours, all 10 of them. I don't know. We've been interested. Yeah. If anyone's been to all 10 of our happy half hours, let us know. We were excited to see how many other people may have been here with us.
Yeah. Well, we should probably get on with the meat and potatoes, to go along with all the beverages so.
You've got a lot of stuff written on the board behind you. I'm very interested to find out what you're going to talk about.
This is one of the more complicated ones. I gotta get all these tools working together. I gotta come back onto the iPad, and also we'll see if the gods of Facebook meetings smile on me here. But I'm going to switch cameras here. And why don't you tell them who else is on while I'm switching cameras?
Absolutely. Oh, Miranda says she has been here for all of them.
Oh.
JP is drinking water, did 7 miles this afternoon. Congratulations, JP. It was actually a pretty nice day out there. There was some was a little bit cool for a little while. Matt, he's been to all of them, which is not surprising. Nadine has been to all of them too. Well, Nadine, I'm so happy that you won the wine last week, because I haven't.
We should get a pin or something for folks that have been to all of these. You get your 10 pin or 20 pin or chips or whatever makes sense.
All right, Dad. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and stop my video so you can take it away.
Okay. Well, today we're going to kind of address the question, the thing that I think most retirees worry about, and that is, will I run out? And of course, when I say will I run out, it's will I run out of money? And can I run out of money in retirement? And there are some threats you face in retirement that you didn't face while you're working. And today's example is going to be a great example of probably the biggest one of those. And I've taught this in classes, over the last 10 years at UNCW and Brunswick Community College, and actually some other places I've taught classes. And this example is probably the one people remember the most. So I hope you enjoyed it. We call it the two brothers example. See, we have two brothers. We have Wilbur and we have Orville. And they worked all their life.
Wilbur and Orville.
Yeah, that seems like a good name for two brothers, and they worked all their life. They were in the aircraft industry,
Oh, yeah.
And they dutifully saved. And when they retired, they each had $500,000 in their nest egg. They each had $500,000 in their nest egg.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they retired and they said, well, I'm going to start taking some of this money out, to live off of for my beer money, and they each decided each year to take $30,000 out of their $500,000. Their $500,000 they invested in the stock market. They invested it in the S&P 500, the 500 biggest stocks in the country. You've heard it all the time on the news. They always tell you how the S&P's doing. It's sort of a reflection of how big companies in America are doing. So they took 30,000. Now, Sam, here is a technical question for you. If they took $30,000 a year out of $500,000, what percentage were they taking out every year?
Oh man, you're making me do math. This was the five.
Should have brought your calculator.
It's 6%, Dad. They're taking out 6% a year.
That's right. If this was $1 million, it would be 3%, right? But it's $500,000, so it's twice that, or 6% a year. Now, here's the tricky thing. Wilbur retired in 1990. Okay. And Orville retired in 2000. And let's look at how they did over the next 10 years in each case. Now, does anybody remember what the market was like from 1990 to 2000? Sam, do you remember what the market was like in 1990?
In 1990, I was probably still wearing diapers, or you were trying real hard to get me out of them.
Yeah. Okay. She must have been potty trained by then. I mean, I hope. I have to ask Mom. She'll remember.
I can't remember what the correct age is.
She probably doesn't remember, but I'm betting most of you on this call remember. That was the decade of computers. Remember, earlier in the decade, PCs and all kind of came out and became popular. And then in the middle of the decade, we got up. It's when we started seeing .com everything, and the .com bubble went. And for most of that decade, things were kind of, especially the last half, things were like up. Had this great, big, wonderful decade of growth. And so Wilbur retired here at the beginning of that. Now, Orville retired in 2000. I'm pretty sure everybody, even Sam, remembers what 2000 to 2010 was like.
Well, I remember Y2K.
Yeah, all this .com bubble that grew up to 2000, starting in about 2000, the .com bubble burst. And for the next 2 or 3 years, the market fell pretty much in half. And 9/11 was in here too. But if you look at the actual graph, it was headed down anyway. And then it came back up to about 2007. And then it dropped again over half. Remember, that was the 2008, all that credit default swaps, real estate crash and everything else. And by 2000, or 2010 rather, it still was not as high as it was 10 years earlier at the beginning of the decade. So it actually kind of looks like this. And so Orville, he retired here at the beginning of this, and he had 2 big drops during his retirement. So you might imagine that they both may have somewhat different results. So we're going to go to the iPad, going to switch cameras again and go and see what the results of that were. Okay.
Y'all know that he talks about, you know, having the wish and the prayer that all the technology works correctly, but he loves it. He loves it. All of the doodads and cameras and views, he gets such a thrill out of it.
I have no defense. I am a nerd at heart, you know?
Also Hada Talani and Teresa. Oh, you went full screen on me. And Phil and Betty and Patricia. And I see we have another few questions there as well that we can try to get to.
Okay. So here we are, and we're going to look at Wilbur's money every year. And if you remember, Wilbur, he retired in 1990 when the dot-com bubble was headed up. And when he retired, he had $500,000 in his nest egg. And we're going to go track that, how it did each year. And you also remember that each year he was taking out 30,000 a year, 6%, and withdrawing it. And so we have the market return. And the first year of that decade, the market actually went down a little bit. The first year of that decade, the market went down 4%. He took out 30, so he was left with 449. But you know, we're gonna look at how it did from here, from 1990 down to 1999. How did the market do? Let me see if I can do that over again so I make it pretty. So we're going to start here in 1990 and track it right through 1999. And you think about it, during that decade, we had some great years. At the end of that decade, it was particularly good. We had plus 33%, plus 26% that year, up 22, up 16, up 25. And if we track his money and look at how it did as it grew, even though he took out during that decade, he took out $300,000, right? So he still withdrew $300,000. But at the end of that decade, he still had $1,234,000. Think about that. He put in 500, he took out 300, and 10 years later, he had $1.2 million to carry him the rest of his life. Boy, that's really, ooh, what's that? That's really good. That is he's obviously a brilliant investor. Well, let's go look at Orville. As you may recall, Orville retired in 2000. He retired in the decade where we had the two drops. He also retired with $500,000 in his nest egg. And we're going to put it over here and we're going to track it year by year. And he also took out 30,000 each year to live off of. So he also withdrew 300,000 over the course of those 10 years to live on. But what was the market like for him over those 10 years? If you recall, we had some bad years. The dot-com bubble burst. We had minus 6%, minus 7%, minus 16%. Some bad, and what really crunched it was down here in 2008. You all remember 2008. The market fell 34%.
Oh.
And if you look at what happened to him at the end of this time, he was left with $156,000.
Ooh. That's That's way different than Wilbur.
Way different than Wilbur. I'll tell you what's really even more interesting. Let's think about this a second. He put in 500. He took out 300. Let's say instead of investing it in the market, he had put that $500,000 in $1,000 bills in his mattress. He just stuffed his mattress with the money. And every year he pulled out 30 bills to live off of, right, during those 10 years. So if he had 500 and he took out 300, he would still have $200,000 left in his mattress. Instead, because he invested in the market, he's only got $156,000.
Oh, what is the saying for that?
What I like to say is this was a time when the mattress beat the market.
Mm-hmm.
So iPad's acting up here. So, you think about it, these two people did exactly the same thing, and one of them, just by chance, when the time period, the years right after their retirement, they had $1.2 million to carry them the rest of their life. And Orville, doing exactly the same thing as his brother, just in a different time, had $1.056 million.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Sam, do you know what this is? One of the biggest risks in retirement. Do you know what that risk is called?
I do know what it's called. The sequence of returns risk.
It's called the sequence of returns risk. And when you're working, you don't really have a sequence of returns risk, because when you're working, you are a buyer, and if I ask you, based upon the rules, when do you want to buy something? When it's high or low?
When it's low.
Yeah, you want to buy low, sell high, right? So when you're working and you're putting, say, $500 a month into your 401k every month, and the market falls in half like it did there, stocks are on sale. That $500 buys twice as much. And so when the market comes back up, you make out. You actually, this is called dollar cost averaging. It's well understood. If I put the same amount into a system that's going up and down, I'll come out ahead because I'll buy more when the market's down. So market drops while you're working, they kind of help you. But when you retire, you're no longer a buyer, you're a what?
You're a seller.
You're a seller. Now you need to take money out, just like these two brothers did, to live off of it every month. And so when you have to pull it out of here when it's fallen in half, you've got to sell twice as much stock. And so when it comes back up, the stock's not there. And so it's like negative dollar cost averaging. So everything's backwards. So this is one of the sequence of returns risk, is one of the big risks we face in retirement. And the moral is, when you get to retirement, you have to invest differently. You're no longer, in fact, think about it. If you've probably all bought and sold houses. When you're buying a house, don't you think about it and do things differently than when you're selling a house? Two different sides of the coin. Same way in retirement. When you're a buyer, it's a different world than when you're a seller. So you need to set up your investment portfolio to weather storms like this without bankrolling you. And many of you who are our clients on the call know the things we've done to do that, the way we have some money playing offense and some money playing defense. And those are some of the things here with today's little lesson. The two brothers. Will I run out of money? So if you're on the call and you haven't, made amends or set things in motion to do this, it's something to think hard about, or you give us a call and we can talk to you and show you what happened with your current portfolio if 2008 occurs again. The other thing I always like to give a pitch for is there's a website called rogo.com. It's our education only site. I have taken parts of my class, broken them into little 8 to 15-minute chunks, and put them on that site. This example here is on that site as well. Whole bunch of stuff, lots of tax stuff, or some income stuff. So go to rogo.com. So there we go.
So Dad, I think the bottom line of what you're saying here is that to avoid being Orville, the investments that you have in, I'm sorry, I'm not on video. The investments that you have while you're working are not going to be the same. You're not going to be positioned the same once you're in retirement.
It's a whole different game. And I'll tell you, I see so many people come in and they've never switched strategies. And that's where, when another fault drop comes, and I say when, because we all know it's going to happen. And I'm surprised. I mean, we're all amazed the world right now. If there's Main Street and Wall Street have never been farther apart. You know, we're setting new records.
Wait. I before you decide to go on wax on poetically, this does tie into a question, a form of a question that we've gotten from 3 different people this week. So Ed, Bruce, and Vicky and Jim, they all, it's some sort of variation of this question. They're wondering, is the tech bubble about to burst with the current PDE ratio of the S&P and the Shiller PDE ratio? Are we irrationally exuberant? Is the bubble going to burst? How is the technological sector driving up the market? Where do we go from here? What can we expect?
Well, I have the answer right here. This is my crystal ball. You can all look into it, and maybe it'll tell you what's going on. In reality, no one knows, but I'll tell you, most or many of us who are in the investment world are just puzzled why the market's doing what it's doing. Again, it's just, you know, airline companies are going out of business, laying off store. I mean, every week or practically every day, another store has gone out of business. Steinmart is going out of business. The store here in town is closing. Saw it in today's paper. Airlines are getting out of business because no one's flying them, so no one's buying planes. I could go, you know, all the same things. Yet the market's up, often driven by tech stocks, because everybody's out there buying computers to watch, you know, Facebook videos on, and microphones, and try to get a webcam, you know, a name brand webcam. But you know, people like Warren Buffett are sitting on more cash than they ever have because they just don't see good opportunities. You know, my feeling is there's, you know, it's partly we've pumped a lot of money in with the recovery, but not enough to make up for how much the economy has fallen. There's a good dollop of, you know, irrational exuberance there. So it's a fairly metastable thing, and you should be aware of that. You know, we've some of you know, if you have a concern about the portfolio, call me. We watch things, and the people that have been really risky, we've moved a little bit, but most people are set up to weather this, you know, as things, you know, in the years to come. But we got about 4 minutes left, Sam. I don't like to run over. We like to keep it to half an hour. We have something else to do today. Is there anything we're forgetting?
It's time for my favorite part?
It's time for my favorite part too.
Okay. Well, then I just want to also, before we do this, summarize. It sounds like what you're saying, or my take on this for whenever I talk to our clients, is we have the crystal ball, but we don't know what's going to come. It is very probable, it is likely that we could see another big drop. We hope that we don't, but we do believe that you should be prepared in case it does happen again, that it is very likely.
You know, we know it's going to be here sooner or later. Usually, think about 2008, no one predicted it. Kramer was saying buy, you know, on the eve of it. 2000 was the same. Everybody, oh, it was going to go on forever. And so usually we don't see it, even though it's sneaking up behind us. And boy, if you didn't put the fear of God into you in February and March, when the market fell faster than it ever had before, including 1929, when that kind of thing is available, when it's behaving like that, it's something so that's the answer to that question. I wish it was rosier, but
Yep. If in March you looked at your statements and you were, your breath caught in your chest, now's a really good time, whether you're our client or not, to take another look at what you're invested in.
Oh, and just before we take a drawing, what are we doing next week?
Next week, so we are looking, we're at number 10. It's our 10th happy half hour.
10.
And over the course of this, we've been asking you for your questions and topics, and we've gotten a lot of good questions that we have not had an opportunity to cover that may not be able to make up an entire happy half hour. So we are going to do a grab bag, right, Dad?
Yeah, we're going to take
Grab
all those
bag of
questions, pick the most common ones, the shorter questions and we are going to just have a whole session of your questions and answers to your questions. So send in some more this week if you have them, and invite your friends to come and listen and grab a beverage and join us on our 4:30 Thursday happy half hour. So who is the lucky winner this time?
I've got my fancy hat. This is my favorite part. Okay. Our winner this week is Brad A. So Brad, congratulations.
Brad, congratulations.
You may not have been here for all 10, but I know you've been here for a lot of them. So congratulations, Brad. You are our wine winner this week. And everybody who responded to Amy's email, you are going to be entered in next week as well.
Okay. So come back next week for the grab bag of questions. Like a typical question that we get a lot is Social Security safe? Will it be here? And I'm going to give you my spin on that based on some of the numbers we see. But we'll have a whole bunch like that, and see if you win. And been fun, everybody. It's cheers.
Cheers.
And until next Thursday at 4:30 for our next happy half hour, have a great week and a great weekend.
Mm-hmm.